Hello and welcome. If you know yourself better, you will be a better person and you can grow from it. Today, I really want to make a quick introduction to this idea of MBTI. You've probably heard that a lot, like what is MBTI, Myers-Briggs personality. According to that, there are like 16 different personality types. There are a lot of different personality tests out there, and I truly believe that Myers-Briggs is actually Myers-Briggs and what exists from that, like the Jungian typology and all that, is actually one of the best ones, and you can really learn a lot about yourself from this. Learn like your limitations and also how you work, how you function, and learn the value of also some stuff that you might have some natural trouble with. So what is this idea of Myers-Briggs? It comes from Jungian psychology, Jungian typology, when he had like different capacity in the ego. So it has thinking, which is logical thinking basically, feeling, so feelings, emotions and all that, how to handle emotions, sensing, which is mostly about your body and how you see external objects and different like physical capabilities, and finally intuition, which is, so yeah, intuition is one of the ideas that we all have like in common knowledge, that intuition is this like magical thing that it comes from nowhere and I got the idea from nowhere. It has a little bit of that, more on that later. And so all of those functions can be either introverted, meaning that it goes from to an internal process. So introverted thinking is an introverted way of thinking, meaning it goes through the mind and through an internal process. Same for feeling, it goes through the internal process of feeling and how do I feel about this and all that. And extroverted means like it's objective. Objective means that it's out there. It doesn't go from internal, it goes from external. It needs the external source. It needs the out there source in order to make it work, because it doesn't understand if it doesn't have the external source. It can be a little bit fuzzy. Quick example, extroverted thinking, for example, uses like manuals, processes, stuff that have been proven out there, like how to cook an omelette. Then they will take a recipe and they will use the omelette. Introverted thinking rather would be like, oh, I know omelette is like based off eggs, and it's like you meld those eggs together and you try to do something from that. So it will try. It's more experimental. It goes through the internal process. From that, the whole idea is that we all have a stack in our personality based off 4 out of the 8 functions. All functions have like introverted and extroverted, so 8 of them. 4 of them times 2, 8 of them. Introverted thinking right there. Internal process of counting. Anyway, so 8 of them, and you have 4 of them in your like conscious stack, in 4 of them that are valid to you. In order to explain that, I will use something like from online actually. I haven't invented that. It's from Personality Hacker. Thank you. I don't know if I can use that. I don't know. The idea of a car. I really like this idea. So imagine you're in a car, okay? And so in this car you have the person who drives the car. It's a family in the car, and one person drives the car. The father, the mother, whatever, doesn't matter. Anyway, so the person drives the car, meaning that this car is always driven by this person, and it's like automated process. It's how the car is your mind. It's how you live the day every single day. You live the day with like this person driving, and and this function of driving is actually how you live your life most of the time. Pretty normal, right? Like if you're introverted thinker, for example, as the first function, then most of your time, most of your life, it will be through the internal process of thinking and like comparing stuff and all that. Yeah, pretty easy so far. The second function, called the creative function, is the copilot. So a copilot, the good thing is that the copilot, if they have a map, or if they are taught how to drive a car, sometimes they can help out. They can say, oh, hey, by the way, maybe you should go left, maybe you should go right. Do you need me to take the wheel because maybe you're tired? And so this co-pilot can be taught to be almost as good as the pilot, maybe even as good as the pilot, with like a lot of work. And this co-pilot actually can be, it's your bread and butter. It's how you use your information. It's a conscious function, meaning that you know how to use it and how not to use it. It's, you turn it on or you turn it off. It will make sense. Yeah, it can be useful. It can drive the car sometimes. So far it's all good, right? But here's the tricky part. Behind the co-pilot, there is the first kid, 10-year-old kid. So what's good about 10-year-old? They are super fun. They want to play, like play a lot of games, and you can sometimes you can like play with them, like play hide and seek with them, play whatever, like play a lot of games. And sometimes they're quite smart. They can have like questions and conversations and stuff. So that's good. But a 10-year-old will never have the maturity of an adult because he has not been in the world enough. And if you let a 10-year-old driving the car, he might run into trouble. Maybe he's too short to drive the car. Obviously he doesn't have the practice yet, so maybe he will crash the car, he or she will crash the car. So this 10-year-old has a narrower range of nuance in the function. If your driver is a function and the intensity of the function, let's say, again, introverted thinking, like logical thinking. If the intensity is from 0 to 100, then the driver can have all the nuance from 0 to 100. The co-pilot, maybe it will be like 0 to 40 and a gap between 40 and 60 and 100, they can still be nuanced. But the 10-year-old, maybe from 0 to 30, they can be effective, and 70 to 100, they can be effective, but not in the middle. Meaning that, sometimes they can solve logical issues, sometimes they can do still introverted thinking, for the example. They can solve a lot of things. I'll give you an example. Let's say your 10-year-old is extroverted feeling, meaning that extroverted feeling is the idea of like society, harmony in society, how to be in a social situation, how to behave, how to have the social norms and all that. This was a personal example. Like I have this as a 10-year-old, and I remember once I was at a restaurant. I had to join friends at a restaurant. They have almost finished at this point they have almost finished their meal. I was just supposed to join them afterwards, after the meal, to hang out later. And I went to the restaurant. I saw them in the restaurant, and I could have, I guess, entered and sit at their table and all that. But I felt so embarrassed that I was going to enter and not eat anything, hence not respecting the social norm, that I chose not to enter and I chose to wait for them to go out. And I felt so bad. I was like, oh, is that okay? Can I do it? Can I not do it? That's how you know that the 10-year-old has taken over. Like, you feel really insecure about everything. You feel like, it's kind of weird, so you don't really want to do it. Yeah. And the last one, in the car, is a 3-year-old. So, yeah. 3-year-old, if you give them the wheel, you can right away see the problem. And this idea of a 3-year-old is that the good thing about a 3-year-old, first of all, is that they ask a lot of questions. You know, they're like, why is that? Why is this? Why is that? So, in a way, it's good because it gives you some curiosity about the world on this function. Some curiosity about how things function, how things work based on this function. Maybe this function is like introverted feeling, so this 3-year-old will ask, how do I care about people? How do I really show that I love people? How do I really, how do I have my value in the world? How do I choose what's good and what's bad in the world? Stuff like that. So, this 3-year-old, the problem is that, yeah, if they drive, you're fucked, pretty much. You're done. You're done. But it can be, it can be nice also sometimes, because, yeah, I'll say hangouts with a 3-year-old sounds weird, but No, I mean 3-year-old you can play. You can play hide and seek. He can ask questions. You can like read them stories and stuff. And it's also very nice. Sometimes if you have kids, like I mean, obviously there's a lot of value in like 3-year-olds, and they can teach us also a lot. So yeah, that's basically it. And based on this model, every single part of this model, you can actually help the function to understand it better, even though you have some limitations, like say you're 3-year-old and you're 10-year-old. You can still understand the value of it, and sometimes like catch yourself when you, let's say, you realize your 10-year-old, like for this example in the restaurant, is driving. Maybe you can catch yourself and be like, oh wait, this is not really me talking, this is my 10-year-old trying to take over. So that's basically how you can use also this model in order to grow. Well, there's a lot more from that, and so the association of all of those spots in the car gives you your overall personality. It goes way deeper than that, but for now, that's it. Thank you very much.